Hi, my name's Mel from Hanrob Pet Hotels and I'm here to talk to you today about the top 8 dog training tips. So the first tip is choosing the right reward for your dog. Some dogs really like food, so obviously use food. Some dogs really like play, so use a tug toy or throw a ball for them. However, some dogs will just do it for the sheer love of their humans, so just give them a nice big smile and a nice pat. So the number 2 tip for training your dog is setting boundaries and making sure that the entire family is consistent. So what I mean by that make sure that if you have the hand signal for down as a palm flat out, that everyone in the family is doing that exact signal. If you don't want the dog up on the lounge, it means the whole family has to agree and no one lets the dog up on the lounge. So number 3 is the importance of consistency, and that follows on from the tip that I gave you just before. It basically means that yes, everyone has to agree on the same rules and enforce the same rules, and everyone has to agree that you're praising in the right way for the right thing. If you don't want your dog to push the heel, it means you all pick that spot so that when he goes past that point, then you remind him that that's not on. If someone continually lets him creep forward, then he's going to get confused because mum lets him walk further ahead than dad. So tip number 4 is the importance of making sure training sessions are short and are always happy. So dogs have an attention span of a young child. Anything longer than 15 minutes, they're kind of going to get what I call cobwebs in their brain and not really be able to concentrate and want to go on. So keep things short. For puppies, we're probably looking at under 5 minutes. For an adult dog, 10 to 15. You want to keep things happy and always end on a high note. So if your dog's struggling with a command, go back to something easy, end it on a big bit of praise, and then move on from there. So tip number 5 is setting your dog up for success. And by setting your dog up for success, I mean when you're practicing a new trick, you're not going to go and start practicing in the middle of a really busy oval with lots of dogs running around. That's too hard, too fast, and he can't cope yet. So take it down to a quieter area, somewhere where he'll succeed. You don't want him to always be making mistakes. You want to set him up to succeed so that training is fun for you, training is fun for him, and so that he learns quicker, and you can then advance on to a harder area faster. So tip 6 is the timing of rewards, and that's critical. Dogs basically learn by consequence. So if they sit and they get a treat within 2 seconds of them sitting, they learn pretty quickly that the action of putting their bum on the floor is what you're actually rewarding. However, if you find that you've come home from work, the dog has dug a big hole in the yard, many hours have passed, you go out the back to then tell him off for it, it's too late, too much time has gone past, he doesn't understand what you're actually telling him off for. All he knows is that you've walked out the back door and you're cranky. So when training, keep that in mind. You want to tell him he's good within 2 seconds of the actual good behaviour occurring, and if you have to, you want to tell him that he's naughty within 2 seconds of that behaviour occurring. So number 7 is making sure that you maintain your dog's focus throughout your training sessions. So this comes back to some of my previous tips, and you can do that by making sure that your sessions are short and fun, and that you're doing it in an area that your dog can cope with. So for example, when teaching a new trick, start in a quieter area, and what you're doing is you're basically going to reward any time that he looks at you. So if he glances up at you when you're training, give him a reward. If he likes food, give him food. If he likes a pat, give him a pat. Getting him to look at you and maintain that focus during your session is critical, because if he's checking in with you, that's half the battle won. That's how you know that he's ready to learn, he's ready to engage, everything's fun, and things are progressing as it should be. Now last but not least, tip number 8 is the importance of not repeating commands. So basically, if you've asked your dog to sit, you go sit, and he doesn't sit, most owners then go sit, 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 sit. What that actually does is it makes your voice white noise and you become irrelevant to him. So that actual command of sit ends up becoming blah, 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 blah. If you find that you've said the command and your dog ignores you, try going back and maintaining his focus, or try taking him back for an area where he can succeed in a quieter area before asking him for a command in a harder area. So that was the top 8 tips for training your dog. My name's Mel from Hanrob Pet Hotels. I hope to be seeing you soon.